consciousness, mindset, health, relationship, business. Welcome to the Aubrey Marcus Podcast.
Welcome to the Aubrey Marcus Podcast.
What's up, man?
Not much. How are you, dude?
Good, great. Excited to be here.
Yeah.
Austin, Texas.
Our first trip was pretty epic out here.
Pretty epic. We loved it, man.
Yeah.
Anytime we have an excuse to come back here, we're always down to do it.
Yeah,
every
awesome.
time. I always tell people the Anna Academy is like the Willy Wonka's chocolate factory for grown-ass men. It's
Right.
like anything you need, supplements, gym-wise. For whatever reason, every girl walking around here is like Victoria's Secret fashion models. It's like everyone's pretty. It's weird, man. When we leave here, Brian and I will get on the plane. I'm like, dude, what the hell? He's like, it's nuts, man. Seriously, I've never seen anything like it. It's nuts.
It's kind of like I'm so intimately involved in creating it that it's hard to take that bird's eye view and kind of reflect upon, oh, wow, that's pretty amazing.
Because you're in it.
Because I'm in it.
But like I was just, Sybil, who picked us up from the airport, what I was telling her on why it works is because if you just walked in here and you're like, oh, Aubrey just surrounds himself with pretty girls and, they sell supplements. Nah, bitch. I was talking to Sybil. She's a smart girl. Mm-hmm. Like, these girls are really smart.
Yeah, they're
it's the same thing like at Fox. A lot of the correspondents or the hosts there, the girls, a lot of girls I know move from wherever to come to LA and they look at those girls and they think they're just pretty. But if you talk to those girls, they have degrees in journalism. These girls are beasts, man. They're very educated, very witty, smart. So I think people, they want to just throw that out there. Like, oh, Aubrey just surrounded by pretty girls.
They want to discredit people.
Yeah, it's like, no, go talk to some of those girls. I was talking to Sybil. She's a smart girl, man.
Yeah, it's like that myth that you can't have it all, that you have to be one thing or another. Oh, and you probably get that too. Oh, you're a fucking fighter. You're a football player. It means you're probably dumb.
It's my number one thing, man. I get all the time.
You're not funny, but how could you be?
Yeah.
And I like pushing people's boundaries with that and kind of shattering that stereotype. Like, yeah, I'll fucking go deep and talk to you about ayahuasca or smoking DMT.
Yeah,
but
man.
if you want to just bench press and slam
we
beers,
can do that too, son.
We can do that too.
I got that down. I can do. That's the easy part.
Yeah.
I especially in LA, that meathead kind of stereotype, man. It's real because in LA there's not a lot of big guys. So Brian, whenever we walk in somewhere, he goes, oh, I'm gonna call you Hungry Eyes. Because all the girls stare at you. I'm like, dude, they're not staring at me because I look like Brad Pitt. They're staring at me because I look like a meathead, and everyone's tiny in this bar, man. That's what they're staring at. So I'm constantly battling that.
Yeah.
I've said this on our show. I told Brian, one of the reasons I grew out my hair because I had a shaved head for 15 years. It's a meathead look, man, for a long time, especially for a big guy with my ears and stuff like that. So I was like, man, I just got to do some subtle changes now that I'm in entertainment. And it makes me feel better. I'm not doing it so other people don't think I'm me. I feel better about it.
Yeah, I think that's the only reason to do all of these things.
Yes.
But I think one of the weakest things that humans do is we create games that we score, but we modify the rules so that we win.
Yeah.
So like an intellectual devalues all physical attributes, all other things, and they say, well, the only game that matters is this intellectual game that I'm playing and I'm superior in.
Yeah, because
they're
good at that game.
They were good at that game.
Yes.
So we create games, and we create the games that fit rules that make sense for us and like prop us up. And it's just this dirty trick of the ego. Like, all of that shit's important, and that used to be the ideal of like the Renaissance man, the warrior poet, this kind of concept where it's not good enough to be a good soldier. You better be a good philosopher and a good artist and all of these things. But people now they're weak, and so they just pick that one thing that they're naturally good at and say, this is the only fucking thing that matters.
It's the same thing with fighters. They do what they're good at. A stand-up guy just does stand-up. He doesn't really want to focus on his ground game. The jiu-jitsu guy only wants to do jiu-jitsu because they want to stay in that comfort zone because that's what they're good at. So I think, like, today's modern man, I feel like, is completely different. And I'm sure you have your view on this, but back in the day, like a guy's guy, right? Like, you didn't have to be that educated. It wasn't that cool to have a huge vocabulary and read books and, and give off and have a lot of style and that personality. I think today's, like, gentleman is, man, he's well-read.
Yeah.
He takes care of himself. He knows about nutrition. He knows about cars. Like we said, he can pound bears and do that stuff and do the tough guy stuff. But to be like a guy's guy, you have to go the other way, man. I just think that's
I think those
progress.
Those older ideals are coming back, but you still see it. You still see weird pockets of it, and I find it in probably communities that you don't see, which is these kind of spiritual communities.
Yes, I bet.
Where they're preaching all of this kind of oneness and love or whatever, but they're scoring the game solely on these thin set of rules about your access to this particular type of spirituality and consciousness, where it's really weird for them to step into an environment where people are competing hard in sports. And so, I think all across the board, it's time to embrace it all. And on the opposite, there's people training for the fucking NFL combine in there that, probably could, be a little more open-minded to floating. And that's one of the cool things that Onnit does, is it brings these different modalities kind of together.
But it's also like that's the culture that's created in that sports environment. Like, Sybil and I went to get coffee, and I was talking with her, and she was asking about college, where I went to University of Colorado, played football there. And she goes, "Oh, did you like it?" I said, honestly, if I could redo it again, I wouldn't. Granted, it got me a scholarship, paid for college, but like, I have a son now. And unless he's super gifted at sports, I want him to go to school to learn, because I went to school and majored in football. I was a double major, but still, as a football, they give you the easy classes. I was good at test taking, so I was just good at test taking. I learned how to take tests in college instead of actually learning the material.
Yeah.
So, but it's the culture you're in. So these football players getting ready for the combine, or they're in the NFL, no one's saying, "Hey, man, I know we play Nebraska this week. It's important. Make sure you read this book. Make sure you understand this philosopher. Make sure you do this." No one's saying that.
No.
They're saying, make sure you have a 2.0 or higher. Other than that, we don't give a fuck.
Cross the bare minimum. Focus on your strength.
That's how it is, man. Make sure you get into the gym. Make sure, So, and it's not their fault. They just no one's introduced them to it. So I've been super fortunate with my dad, who's super educated, and with Brian. Brian has been a mentor, and he was the guy like, man, you don't have to be a meathead. You're actually a really smart guy. Maybe read this book. I was like, all right, started reading the book, and then you should go down this rabbit hole.
Yeah, there needs to be more of that kind of concept put out there, and more pressure. And I agree with you. I think it's happening.
It's happening.
It's definitely.
You know why it's happening? Because that's what girls are attracted to.
Right.
The hot girl in the room. Again, it's a stereotype. We think she might be dumb or something like that. Go talk to that girl. A lot of times they're very educated. They have these great personalities. They don't want the meathead who just knows about protein powder and curls.
Right.
So I think that's why guys
they make fun of that guy at the lunch.
Yeah. So I think the Jersey Shore guy, that's no more, man.
Right.
You can't show up in an Ed Hardy shirt and a tan and think it's gonna work. So you got to spit some fucking knowledge, man. The game is real.
You've mentioned education a few times, but that's another thing that I think is really ripe for change, because I didn't play sports in college. I mean, I played a bunch of fraternity sports and had fun with that. But I think if I look at the amount of money dropped, and I was very fortunate, my parents had the means to pay, and I could just contribute where I could, and so I was free to add double major, double minor. I did theater, I did all this fucking crazy cool stuff, which was cool. But my actual education, from listening to podcasts and reading books and doing the shit on my own, far surpassed what I learned in university. And I went to good school, University of Richmond.
Great school.
And I think that's like, that idea is ripe for, some other idea to come along, some other disruptive technology to say, like, here's some other option.
Well, it's just old school, like the way of thinking, the way even the books. Even the books that they have kids reading, it's insane.
It's so antiquated. It's like, it's so slow to react in this fast world.
Plus, you all have to learn the same way.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm a visual learner. Maybe when the teacher does that, when she's just talking in the class and writing notes, I don't learn that way. What about that? Mm-hmm. And now every kid has ADD. You mean energy? We used to have huge recesses. Right. You know what I'm saying?
Well, ADD exists because there's a drug that you can prescribe to fix it.
This is true.
That
means everyone I grew up with had ADD. We didn't take medication. We played football and basketball at recess. And then everyone was exhausted, and then we come in and sit in class. But the kids don't do, they're getting away from that now.
That documentary by the guy from Bigger, Faster, Stronger, Prescription Thugs, did you see that?
Yes.
So they talk about that too. They talk about how, bipolar disorder, super rare psychological disorder, like very, very uncommon. Then they found a drug that treated it, reasonably well enough. And then all of a sudden, the incidence of it.
Now everyone has it.
Now everyone has it. It's diagnosed all the time.
Well,
it's just like
it's the same with antidepressants or even sleep pills. Like we have a friend, Brian I do, who's very successful. He's an actor. He makes money off his creativity for his brain. And he's always had a depression problem. And, it's in his family. And he saw this. He's been seeing this therapist and it's been helping him. And we can tell when he's going through it. And he got on antidepressants. And he's not as creative. He's just not the same guy.
Yeah, it's very dull.
Like, dude, forget those things, man. That's how you make a living.
Yeah.
If you're going to be down, we need to figure something out. Maybe start work because it doesn't work out. Like maybe work out, maybe try some other stuff. But that should be the last resort.
Yeah. I don't, no poetry would ever have been written if people had access to fucking Zoloft.
Never, man.
Like there's
Zoloft never wrote a great song. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, totally.
You think Nirvana would be around if there's Zoloft? No, hell no.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's not good.
There's something about the rawness of those kind of emotions.
Because we can relate to it.
Yeah, and everybody goes through. There's days where I'm fucking super depressed. And I have everything like positive in the universe.
I know.
And then there's days where I'm in the flow, in the moment, elated. I'm so happy at life.
But you know what's weird is
tears.
we have friends, and we have mutual friends, and I read about these people who are manic depressive and they've got all these medication. So maybe one day out of 60, I might be down. My brain will let me go, dude, you might be bipolar manic depressive. And I'm like, fuck, am I? Oh man, I am kind of doing stand-up now. Stand-up's kind of fucked up. Am I fucked up? And you like create this whole kind of weird world and weird kind of, I don't know, all the connotations that go with it, man.
And if you indulge that too much, then you'll start to create that reality too. Like if you go down and you start believing that about yourself, you'll manifest that.
Hell yeah. Next thing you know, hairs in my eyes, it's all fucking pink, and I got tight ass skin jeans on, playing a guitar.
You usually have tight ass skinny jeans on.
Yeah, I do. Like, what the fuck happened to Brendan? I don't know, man.
Just wearing all black.
Yeah. Just a whole lot look like fucking Marilyn
Somehow
Manson.
no tan ever.
No tan. What happened to Big Brown? Oh, that's Big White now. Yeah, that's big depressed now.
It's not to say that some of these things can't help people with a certain particular thing. It's just everybody, I think there's no tolerance for going through the suffering and figuring it out, putting on your detective hat, figuring out where that's coming from.
Yeah, man.
Ameliorating that and then moving forward, where everybody's looking for that kind of quick solution.
And I just think no one's happy all the time.
No
one's happy 24/7.
Look, like me and you got a lot of fucking great shit going on.
I have no reason to be sad.
No reason. I'm sad sometimes.
I'm sad right now. I'm depressed right now.
God damn it. The depressed.
I'm manic depressive, bro.
And I think that's good for people to hear, though, because they probably think like, man, these guys, that's just, if I was like them, I'd be happy every single day, be fucking rainbows and butterflies.
No, man.
Nah.
Hell no. Dude, some of the most successful people I know, they just have these dark days. They're super dark. But that's also why they're successful. But they're trying to fill this hole. The most dominant champ I knew had the biggest darkness, was always trying to fill this hole, and it's never going to get filled. That's why he or she was such a successful fighter.
Yeah, you see that. And did you see the Michael Fassbender Steve Jobs movie?
Yes.
So you see that a little bit with Steve Jobs. Like there was, in these crazy visionaries, there was some kind of driving force.
Because he was adopted,
He was adopted and discarded, and he was never validated like that. And that's certainly a fuel, but if you probably looked at the suffering in that man's life, it was immense. If you want to use that fuel, it's like burning coal. Like it's not a clean burning fuel, but it can get you far.
It usually goes two ways. Like people use an excuse and they just have a horrible life. They
become the victim.
Yes. Or you get a guy like Steve Jobs who, man, it's going to be tough to work for, but is he ever a beast, innovative, and he's trying to fill this hole and prove to those parents who gave him up, like, you fucked up, man. Mm-hmm. Look at me. So it creates this kind of the diamond, man. It really does.
Yeah, no, it does. One thing I've been playing with is, because I've used that fuel before, and I just wrote a post about it, and I was talking about it, where, I remember a girl in college, she broke up with me and started dating a linebacker. I think he was playing for DePaul and then maybe onto the Steelers. And I remember she broke out and I was like, I get all fucked up in my head. My ego is all fucking tweaked out. And I started looking at his like combine stats because he went out for pro day or whatever. And I saw how many times he did the bench press fucking 225 test. So there was me in my fucking mind with Pantera in my headphone playing This Love on repeat. You take this love, love. And just in Queensland, Australia, it's beautiful. There's birds chirping. There's beautiful women walking by. And I'm in the fucking University of Queensland weight room, just headphones on, just lifting iron till my body just corrupt. Trying to catch up with dude. And I fucking finally do. I got short arms.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I was good at bench pressing. Yeah. And I fucking catch up to him. And I felt like satisfied, but it didn't fucking matter.
After that, you're like, no.
What the fuck? Like, that was like.
Text her, hey, he did 225 20 times. I did 21. She's all, very cool. He's a giant dick, Aubrey. Yeah. Okay. All right. Back to work.
But, everything is kind of like that. Like, you're trying to prove something, but it's a hole that you can never fill. No amount of championship belt, no amount of bench press 225 tests.
And for some people, it's a lifetime of that, and they don't realize it till it's too late. You're never going to fill that. So, for me, I have some of that, and I think it started in sports. I was always talented, but I'll never forget when I played basketball. I played in this competitive league. I must have been 6th or 7th grade, and it was an all-black team, black coach, all black kids, and me, little brown, and white as shit next to those guys. But it was the first game, and I never felt like I fit in. I was always trying to, the one white kid. And they had these sweet jerseys. That's why I'm always so detailed with our merchandise. I'm so into details and the way, fashion. So these jerseys, I remember he showed us one like 2 weeks before. He's like, everyone's getting these first game. I was like, oh, those are so sick. I can't wait. It's 6th grade. He's giving out the jerseys, and it was like, I was like Milton off Office Space. He's like 22, giving the kids jerseys, going down the line. And then he gets to the box, and there's no more jerseys. He's like, I didn't get you one, man. What? He's like, just wear your old one. And I was like, yeah. No, I'll wear the old one. Oh, you mean the green one when everyone else is in black? That one? He's like, yeah, get the green one. So you're out there, and it's so embarrassing. A, you're the white kid around with all black kids, so you already don't fit in.
Yeah.
B, now I'm in a fucking green jersey while everyone else is in black, and, I was good, but these kids are superstars.
Yeah.
And I'll never forget that feeling. I always carried it with me. Like, I always thought that I was just always one step behind in everything. Like it was never going to happen for me. So University of Colorado football, growing up in Denver, that's a big deal, man.
Yeah.
Gold helmet, black jersey. If you grew up in Colorado, that's the goal.
And they gave you a fucking green one.
Gave me a green jersey. Nope, they misspelled my name.
No way.
Yeah, I finally. We get to locker. It's game day, and I get to my jersey, and I'm like, finally, open up the locker. I'm like, okay. Well, it's SCHAUB, not UAB, and it was misspelled.
Schwab.
Yeah, and I was like, all right, well, fuck again, man. So I've always had this, and then again, what happened? If you're one of the top 5 players on the team, like one of the superstars going to the NFL, which I was a good player. I wasn't one of those guys. They would put special gifts in your locker, but it was just a way to kind of segregate the kids, where it was like, it's not a good feeling, man. So you never felt special ever. So I think for me, whatever this journey is now that we're doing these live shows and the podcast, especially the live shows, it's the love I've always been seeking. It's literally like that fills the hole. And I think that's why I crave it. I'm always trying to perform. Like, come on, like me. I have a green jersey on, like me, man. Right. And so I think just this path of live performing, like I'm starting to finally get that. And I never got it when I fought in the UFC. I was always, this is going to sound ridiculous because people are like, that's a dick move, but it's the way I think I got as far as I did with my confidence is I always thought every fight I should be in the main event. I would get there and be pissed I wasn't in the main event. I was pissed I wasn't on the countdowns. I was on 9 countdowns. I forget how many fights I had, maybe 14 in the UFC, but I was 9 countdowns out of 14, pretty fucking good, more than a lot of guys. I was pissed not every one of my fights was on a countdown. When we were signing posters, if I wasn't on the poster, I wouldn't talk to him. It would ruin my day. It's weird, man. But that comes from not getting acknowledged as a little kid.
Sure. Yeah, and I think that, we create these conditional self-love games with ourselves. Like, we love ourselves according to our performance. Fuck, even we learn this from society. I mean, our coaches treat us that way. Our parents treat us that way. Everybody around us treats us that way. That's just the way that the earth is done. Hopefully at some point we have that mother or that grandmother or that someone that no matter how good we do or how bad we do, they're always there. The love stays the same. Some of us don't have that force at all. I was fortunate that I had, that was my mother, and then everybody else around me was fucking, the opposite, right? Like I played well, I was awesome. I played shitty, then they tried to mask it, but it was like, you could feel the fucking
you know what's up.
You could feel
when you bomb. Yeah.
So we learn, then we internalize it, and then we do it to ourselves, and then we're constantly seeking it. But it always leaves us vulnerable because no matter where we go, we have to have some other fresh triumph in order to fill that hole.
I have to, because as soon as you accomplish that one thing, it's like, damn, that didn't work, man.
Yeah, because it's not sustainable.
No.
So the only sustainable way then is to get rid of that paradigm entirely.
And you got to address it and see what's going on.
Yeah,
and I have not done that, Aubrey.
I've been trying, and it's hard, and it's a multifaceted approach. Because the ego, for me, I had a rule I'm a very competitive guy, and I had a rule people can be better than me at one thing only. That was my rule. Obviously, there's going to be better people in sports. There's going to be better chess players. There's going to be better philosophical minds or whatever, but that's the only thing I was going to give them. I was going to be so well-rounded that nobody could take me in two disciplines.
I'm not mad at that.
Right? So, but this was not just, it wasn't just like a pursuit because that's what I liked. It was this ego thing that I had. It was this competition thing, and that was the fuel for it because that was what made me feel more worthy and more worthy of my own love and whatever.
Deserve to be there.
I deserved my own love at that point. I deserved to be loved by the world. But it always leaves you vulnerable because as soon as people challenge you, then you get that feeling or someone says something bad about you, then you have that reaction to try and prove them more. But it leaves you inherently vulnerable. Whereas if you can just ditch that and be like, look, I am a force of life, period. That's it. I am just a human being, breathing, living, doing what I can, and that's all good. I don't care what you say I don't care what your judgments are. Then you're no longer vulnerable.
I agree.
You can do things from passion.
I think what makes that worse, though, is social media.
Totally.
Way worse.
It's huge resistance towards that concept.
Way worse. And I was always a guy super engaged with social media. I still am. My brother runs a lot of it because I'm a sensitive guy, and people would write comments, and it would hurt my feelings, man, or it'd make me change the way I thought about something on the show. Well, we didn't get successful by deciding what the fans thought was cool to talk about, so I had to stop doing it, man. It would literally there'd be, especially after a fight, win or lose, you get on there, it'll ruin your day, man. I'm like, damn, what is wrong with people? It would hurt my feelings. So again, that's. It's looking for approval all the time, man. It's not good.
Constantly.
It's not good.
Yeah, and that's you got to fill up your own cup just overflowing, and so it just doesn't really matter. You appreciate if it comes in, great. If it doesn't come in, great.
You know how a lot of people deal with this? What I think, and you probably know more so than me, but I think a lot of people deal with that void with drugs. They numb the effect where they don't have to address that stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's two options. When you're in that state of suffering, you can either ascend or descend. You can descend to unconsciousness through alcohol or drugs, so you just numb it, so it's no longer a factor.
Really deal with it.
Or you ascend to a higher consciousness in which you transcend whatever feeling that you're going for. You either move up or down, because right there, stuck in the middle, is hell.
And there's really no staying the same. You might be in that middle for a day or two, but then you got to go up or down.
Up or down.
Up or down.
Because it's unsustainable. Man. It's too miserable. Yeah,
it's a beast.
So I
need help, man. I start crying.
Well, I remember